Hi, Kasper.
Hi, Kasper.
So good to see you.
Well, good to see you in new surroundings.
Exactly. You noticed.
I did.
Yeah, we got funded, so we upgraded our...
This episode is now sponsored by...
Yeah.
Put in a fancy product, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the good guys at Inbound Copenhagen let us in here, so that's really nice.
Yeah. What are we going to be talking about today, Kasper?
That's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
Before, I think I just want to make a short intro because I think that something goes before the episode.
Okay.
So you heard about Albert Einstein, right?
Yeah, smart guy.
Yeah, he's a genius. Do you know his brother Frank?
Frank Einstein.
Yeah, Frankenstein. He's a monster. And what
so the two brothers is a genius and a monster.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So what we're going to talk about today is a thing that has annoyed me during the past week here, or for a while, to be honest. And it's actually the difference between good and bad.
Okay.
And whether you look at the genius and the monster, who's good or who's bad, that's not the case. But I noticed that when we talk about data, it often becomes a very negative narrative. Like we all know the garbage in, garbage out, and even worse into this. And it made me think if the way we talk about data, the way we talk about data implementation, when it becomes a negative, if it's actually a disruptor for the data-driven mindset that we want to have as organizations, as across organizations, and to provide goals across this.
So by having a negative narrative, we increase the negativity around it.
Yeah.
Is that your point?
Oh, yeah. Or maybe even disrupt the success of what could be.
Okay.
Because it becomes more of a fight, as we talked about in previous episodes, rather than an objective in our business that we wanna look to solve.
Okay.
Is this something that you've thought about as well, or?
I mean, honestly, I use garbage in, garbage out a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And especially when it comes to, I mean, we're working a lot on CGA migrations from Adobe Analytics to CGA, and a lot of clients haven't given the nurture and care to the Adobe Analytics implementation, right? So if we talk about a one-to-one migration, we typically raise the red flag of, if you get garbage in, you get garbage out.
Yeah.
Right. So certainly a term that we are guilty of using. I'm guilty of using.
Yes, well.
So I'm interested in where this talk is going to take us.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the things that I've seen on the I'm myself 100% guilty of using garbage in, garbage out, shit in, shit out. To be honest, that's what I've used so long. We went to a conference in London as attendees, actually, and there were more than 150 vendors. And essentially, every one of these vendors could have been us.
Okay.
In the way they communicated from their booth. And a lot of it was shit in, shit out.
Yeah.
And it really made me think, like, first of our go-to-market, like how do we need to change these things? How do we need to go to the narrative differently? That led into this, like, what does it mean when everyone says that? Because I was not positively affected as a guest at this convention watching these slogans. I was like, oh my God, we use it ourselves.
Yeah.
So I started thinking how it reflects back to the old narrative of big data. That the goal is to collect as much data as possible, which is not at all the truth today. Where it's about, like, what do we want to prove? What data do we need to do this? And collect that and activate that data. So that's the first point. The second point was, like, it becomes a talk of something that's never going to get there. Like, big data is never going to be complete. And what we need from data in marketing is that we need to complete projects. We need to look into what is it that we're solving in our business and how can we use the data for this. And I was like, people may have a different reflection on what it means, but garbage in, garbage out, to me, brought these things to my mind. And I just started thinking, like, decision makers and top management was be in this situation, because it often ends out, and you can for sure talk more about that it ends out that data projects often get down prioritized in the very end, even though they are the core of the success in CDPs, in CJA, in data lakes, wherever they might be AI, right?
I mean, sometimes it's even not prioritized in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we've been working with companies where they are implementing a new website or creating a new website, but nobody's thinking of the data for that new website.
Yeah.
And then what I typically see is that in the end of the project, we need to rush in and get the data, right? Rush in and quickly, which is the foundation, right? Yeah. So from that perspective, I don't think that it's getting the care and attention if we talk about that the data foundation needs to be high quality.
Yeah.
Because if we rush it in the end of the project, there's a deadline for when the site is going live. It's not founded in what are the critical KPIs that we need. It's going to be founded in what can we get in before the deadline, and we just need the basic stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I actually think instead of it being at the end of the project, it's not being, well, it's being prioritized at the end.
Yeah.
Should be prioritized at the beginning, right?
Absolutely. And you appreciate the require because like that's what we see.
Yeah.
But back to the narrative also, because I actually completely agree with you this time, because that's also what we see.
Yeah.
What we see from the companies that succeed in this, and I noticed this a few times talking to the CMOs and the top decision makers of these CDP AI projects, that what they refer back to is the gold data that they have that they are able to activate. So notice that they talked about the data in a very positive way, that it was part of their native language somehow. So gold data was suddenly when you didn't have tons of data, but you had the data at hand that you needed to see the parameter, like it goes into dashboards or whatever. But you knew you had the data you needed, and you knew you were not wasting your time collecting data that you might need at some point. When they had that, they started talking about it not as gold, but in a positive light, right?
Yeah.
And then I think what I noticed as well in the positive narrative, companies who do this start having the goal of having, like the average data completeness and quality for marketing is around 50%. But the companies who have a positive narrative around this are always talking about if we are not at 100, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But the 100 is not the unachievable goal. It's kind of the next step. It's like if, like Grundfos are saying, like if we have a bad day, we're at 99%. Like which is that's amazing. That's a completely different way of talking about data. And then I think it also feeds into trustworthy ROI. And we're talking about this on another episode as well. But just like if the data, this is a lot back to trust. If the data that we have is not complete and is not seen as something that we need to have complete, then all our calculations after that, our tech implementations, our ROI calculations are skewed.
Yeah.
And the CFO and the decision makers that we talk to are aware of this. But if we're not providing the right data, they simply just calculate around it and downgrade the trust and the impact that we have as marketing. Yeah, that was a long rant.
Very long, but no. But the takeaway for me is that from your long rant, we shouldn't be having a negative narrative around the data. We should be focusing on the data points that we trust.
Yeah,
those are our gold data of. Maybe we can come up with a term that we put into the world of this, but gold data, right? Yeah. And that we should have a positive narrative for the data that we actually trust.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, but these are very short investigations that I made, but I just saw a trend in it. So I think my question to you and to everyone is like, is it time that we change the narrative?
I think you and I should agree that we're changing the narrative.
Yeah, I'm glad you're saying that because we actually made a sticker. that says gold in, gold out. So I would, this could have been a bad investment, but now it's good.
Okay,
So, yes,
so we shouldn't change it to diamonds in and diamonds out.
that will put me in an awkward position.
For the stickers at least, right?
Yeah.
For
It could be anything.
as a former cyclist,
Yeah.
if you had a fantastic day,
Mhm.
you would say that you would have diamonds in your legs.
Okay.
So
okay.
maybe you want to change the stickers. I don't know. But I completely buy into that we should be changing the narrative of focusing on the positive things.
Yeah.
What in our data foundation are actually data that we trust
Mhm.
and is our gold data, and how can we expand on that gold data instead of focusing on all the data that's shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a positive mindset rather than a negative mindset.
Yeah.
Because it turns the conversation into a focused conversation around what is it that we're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
We're not trying to achieve a lot of data. We're not trying to achieve perfect data quality score. We're trying to drive business.
Yeah. And we'll probably never get to the perfect data quality, right? I mean,
probably not. I mean,
in the world that we live in with cookie consent, we're never going to get there, right? But should we have a minimum threshold that we commit to, or is it just focusing on that the data we get in is as high quality as possible?
but the threshold is that our data is trusted, I think.
Yeah.
If we can trust our data, then it has value. Then it impacts how we do business.
Okay. So wrapping it up, and the takeaways is positive narrative, a positive spin on it,
Mhm.
and the minimum threshold of high data quality is that data is trusted in the organization.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one thing goes before that, and that's like knowing what we're using the data for. And this is something that we've been talking about for years, but making it very concrete.
Yeah.
We hear this in so many examples of those who succeed.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, but we're not looking holistically at all the data we have. We looked at the project, what data we needed, and then we completed that, and we put in a culture that for this project, we needed to deliver it at this level.
I want to add another thing is that we shouldn't be collecting big data. We should be collecting the necessary data, right? Typically what we do is like we want to limit, if we do a re-implementation, we want to limit the data points to the critical data points.
Yeah.
Because if there's too much data, we're not getting insights either.
No.
We are drowning in data. So positive narrative, limit the data, and make sure that we have trust in data.
Exactly. And try to ask a decision maker about data. And I bet you they will talk about the amounts of data and the difficulty of data and all these things. So let's start here. Let's start in the marketing community, changing the narrative around data and how we use it.
Since we already have the stickers, the new term is gold in,
gold out.
Gold out.
I agree. If you ever hear one of us saying anything else, then what?
Slap you in the face. Is that going to be too much?
It's a lot. Please don't slap me in the face. Okay.
Gold in, gold out.
Yeah, but
like
it's
a slap, and then it's a statement. Slap in the face, gold in, gold out.
Exactly. Garbage in, garbage out is hereby dead.
Agree.
Thank you all for listening in. Thank you, Casper. It was great. I love, yes. What his heart is full of. I look forward to...
Stop it, Casper.
You know it. But I also look forward to seeing you next week for another...
So do I.
See you then.